Good morning, good morning. Testing into POC of previous candle. Trying to recover our previous day value low right now, just like we talked about. We want to see a push over 250 if we're going to continue higher. If we can flip 250 here, we should be able to trade up to at least 300, 320. That's what I'd be watching. Just watching to see if we can recover this or if this holds. This is POC on our shift. Right, so we got our higher low. We are watching to see if we can hold and recover from our bid here, and if we can get over, we should be able to then trade to previous day POC like I wrote from our hold of previous day value low. But we got to get over this level right now, or we will flip and rotate back down. Same thing on ES. Do you guys see that there's a Ebola outbreak? I have 4 M and Q left here from 217. I've taken off 6 of my 10. Just watching to see if we can get this last leg up to 320. Or if I'm going to get stopped out below this like 200 level. Very volatile.
Iran says US demand still excessive despite draft changes. So Iran's Tasnim cites source close to negotiation team.
Thank you, Tom. $50 till new 15s. Again, just watching if we can hold previous day value low here. This like 200, 215 area. As well as today's value low, sorry. If we can get back over 260, again, watching for push up into our 30-second opening range into like 300, 320. If not, then this will fail, and then we will look below 200s and then rotate back down to our 140 area. Watching Russell to see if we bounce here at our 800, at our view up, and our halfway back. Or if we're just going to hold, right? Nothing really else here. Like I said above, we either hold previous day value, right, and then rotate through value, or we'll hold it as resistance and then start a larger breakdown. For ES enjoyers, right, it's the same thing. Pathing wise, we're watching to see if we can build here above this 430, now into our 440, looking for that push up into our 450, right? Like it's just recovery of our previous day value low, and now trying to build here on today's value edge at this node for a rotation back up to previous day POC at 452. With Russell holding the higher low at view up at our 800. And, of course, NQ pushing into target now, following pathing. I'm taking off one more here. Again, in from 17, taking off into 300, which is our 30-second opening range low here on NQ. And that is my first trade of the day. I've got two left from 217. Yeah. See if we can get back over 250s here off of another hold of our previous day value, as well as PVZ value low at our 210s, 208s, whatever you want to call it. Again, my stop's at 200 on my final contracts, no change. If we can get back over 260, 250, then we have another leg up. If this holds, this will be where the lower offer sits. Just watch POC of this current candle. Nothing crazy. ES still holding pathing. See if we can find the secondary bid here into 250, 260 with ES now pushing into target at our 48s to 52s.
According to Tasnim, Iran under no circumstances trades war end for nuclear.
Oh, I'm so excited for this new audio cable to come in, man. These headphones are so broken. I mean, I've got the DT990 Pro X's type, but the cable itself started to the stock cable that came with them is just absolute shit. Like, it just kept bunching up on me, and it basically caused a short with inside the cable because of how much it was bunching up. So I bought just a replacement one that has like the spiral in it, because the one they gave me was like a straight cable, but it has so much like static on it. I guess I don't really know how to describe it, that it was like sticking to itself, and so it kept like tangling up and like wanting to like curl up on itself with the stock cable and bunching up. So it just caused a short within. So only one of the two headphones is working right now, unless I like wiggle it. It's very scuffed. So I just bought a new one that has the that's like spiraled. I don't think the headphones are broken. I think it's just the cable. So it's just I just bought a replacement cable, and we'll see. But yeah, I'm sure they're still under warranty. It's like a $15 cable. It's not a big deal. It's just annoying that I had to do that in the first place. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't use them as much as I do, I probably would as well. But not about the weight, you know. Forever. All right, testing previous day here as well as current value low on NQ. Russell coming down. We don't have a bid until RTY finds this low. I'm watching this 92 here. See if we double bottom. As soon as we do, we'll have movement again as potential, right, for ES and NQ. It's the same trade every day. We wait for the market to bottom, we then look to take the relief bid, and then we look to see if we get a lower offer for continuation down, or if we flip it and then create that right side of fee for the upside trade from our bottoming across the market. Right? If we can find this low, we watch for the relief. That creates either a scalp short or scalp long, or we'll flip back above our previous seller, and then we get continuation up from that bottoming. It just is what it is. Don't overcomplicate it. Yeah, I've got the Pro X Studios. They're actually pretty cheap right now. Like 250, not bad. 220. These are pretty good. I mean, do you like open back, or do you not like open back? Because that's the deal breaker. If you don't like open back, then don't even look at these. Okay, yeah, then don't even look at these headphones. I don't think I could do closed back large headphones. The only way I do like the closed ones are like the pods that like go in your ears.
Alphabet shares jumped 2.7% to a record high after Berkshire Hathaway more than triples its stake in the company.
Dude, look at this head title. This headline for the Who today. Like, what a whammy. Who kicks off annual assembly amid Ebola, hantavirus, U.S. withdraw, funding cuts. It's like, damn, man. It's unlucky. There's, by the way, there's nothing here yet on NQ. We're just waiting for Russell to either flip back above, like we have drawn, or for us to fail our previous day value, current value low, etc., and then rotate back down. But if RTY wants to push back up, we'll watch to see what happens here into our VWAP like we talked about, and then go from there. That should give us an idea of where we want to head. NQ just in balance, right? We're just in an inside candle right now, holding value of our previous candle as well as our 15-minute VWAP, and rotating between the two. There's nothing that we can trade off of here other than watching to see if we'll hold here at this 200 to 250 as resistance on a look below, with Russell rejecting our 800 and then rotating down off of it. Like, is this going to offer and then hold for continuation down, or can we get back above this very clear node that we've drawn out and flip back above, right? So we'll just have to watch for either a reoffer for a very clear sweep and then take out of our lows, or we'll have to wait, right? Russell will determine directionality. Coming into our lows now. New 15s have opened, opening below value of our previous candles, the last two candles at our 170. Watching to see if this 170 continues to hold offer. If it does and we can break lows, then we should be able to head down to like 080. We'll see. Russell's still holding our lows. Needs this to shift below for this to get this big breakdown. ES has room down to our PVZ POC at 28s, regardless. Let's see what NQ does here into our lows. We want to see a very clear break of the structure, or we're just going to rotate back up. We are trading within a rectangle on NQ. Right? Is there a desire yet at these lows? We're unsure. Good little sweep below. See if we get a solid reoffer.
Nasdaq 100 extends drop to session low 0.3%. The S&P 500 turned negative again.
I would hope that the reoffer would come here on across market as we bounce at our like 19s on ES. And then we'll look for a lower high and then continuation down. That'd be ideal.
Oil futures turned positive in volatile trade as worries about supply disruptions offset economic concerns.
I think if you're short already, this should be your like first risk off as we push down into like 410, 405 on ES, and we come down into this 81, 82 area on RTY. Then we'll look for a reoffer. But trend is very clear to the downside. No bid yet or desire. Want to leave a runner for sure if you are already in. If not, you just hit the wait. Lots of liquidity down here though into 400, 410 on ES that we should be able to bounce off of. Like I said, just on our profile, you can see that. Let's see if these buyers are still present and willing. Yeah. The value retest on the breakdown is exactly what we were looking for. Now let's see if we find bids here as we push into this again on ES. You can see that liquidity that I'm mentioning. I just put it in chat. Let's see what we do here. I'm hoping that it gives us a solid reoffer at least that we can then play around, but we'll see. Just watching again this 400, 410 on ES. RTY has found a low. ES has found a low, exactly where we thought it would. Now let's see what they do with this. Can the bid sustain here and rotate us back up to at least 420 on ES? Or is this going to reject and then continue down? Watch for an offer into this. Same thing on RTY here as we push in. Same thing on NQ. All right, it's just like, how did I find that? Oh, well, we looked at our delta profile, used our brain, right? Now let's watch to see if we hold as we push back into this offer. That's very clear on footprint. Same thing on NQ here at our 50 to 80 area. So we'll watch for a seller to sit here into this liquidity that we see on our footprint. As long as Russell has a bid, we can push, but we'll be watching to see if sell side sits here as we push into this for potential loss of momentum on NQ, ES, RTY, right, for the lower high. If you're in a long scalp, right, this is your first risk off as we push into 420, 428. We will look for absorption here from sellers, a willingness to take in, and then a attempt to try to push down. Getting a little volatile here. Spread on our DOM is a little thin, but we are selling where we thought we would. I'm risking off 1 here. Let's see if we can get a hold based off of where we thought we would. Regardless, trade's already really, really solid from both sides, either our bid and hold or the flip and rejection. Buyers are going to try to defend this edge here at our 410s on ES. They'll try to put in a higher low there. We need to get below that 410, 405 area for more downside, or we'll make that higher low. Just watch Russell as we put into this pivot, right? Buyers will try to flag us here like they're attempting right now. Again, we want to see clear absorption into this and then a lower high and rotation down from here. Or again, we will recover and we'll rotate back up. So let's see what they do. RTY holding still. Again, that needs to reject or we'll rotate up instead of down with us holding that higher low. Until Russell loses momentum, we have still more upside potentially. There was a first attempt from sellers. They have so far failed. We're watching to see if we take in now, if we taken out highs and we absorb again, and then if we can rotate back below. If we can get back below 420 from holding into this area, then we'll look for that short once again, back down to our 410, 405. If not, we will look for the flip and then rotation back up off of the failure at our lows from sellers to do anything significant. And we will rotate back through today's value if we get back into our upper structure, right? It's just that simple. Do we hold our edge or does this edge fail? Do we get back in or do we fail? Our pivot is incredibly clear on Russell, so we just watch that as we push in as well on ES into our value edge now. Previous day value, as well as today's current value low. If we can't get back below 420 on ES, we'll rotate back up to 435, 442 before we find our next sell. Watching Russell into our pivot. New 15s opening now, opening at POC, above POC on both NQ and ES. Watching Russell at our pivot, testing into our halfway back here on RTY. Again, we are putting in higher lows ever since we found that bottoming at 410s 405s. We need to break that, get below this POC from our previous candle for confirmation, or again, we will continue to find higher low bids. We just keep an eye on Russell for directionality. We want to see very clear absorption here and a pushback below our pivots and then reoffer for continuation down. ES pathing is still very clear. Again, watching our 420 here, seeing if we can now hold, if offer is going to push below and hold this after rejecting here into our 28s, into our value edge. Can we get below this POC, show interest here? That would be ideal if we're going to then rotate back down. Retesting now. We ideally want them to be pretty aggressive here as we try to push back into 20s if this is going to go down, with RTY putting in a lower high so that this liquidity is offside now that's inside this box, right? We want this edge to ideally hold and then try to sweep back down to at least 410s. If it doesn't do that, trade's not great, right? We want to see this edge really try to hold. Same thing on NQ here as we push below POCs. Right, like the POC of our previous candle is now kind of where we're watching to see if this can now hold. If sell side fails here and there's not a ton of desire, then yeah, it kind of is what it is. This is one of those areas where we really want to see clear reactions exactly where we thought. Because if we don't, then there's still kind of that showing of lack of desire, and it'd be better to just wait until it's we're below that 405, 410 area on ES. Same thing with NQ. Below 010 to 980. Right, like this is very clear here on, oops. This is our higher low pivot where we just played off of, watching this area as we push back down. Same thing on ES, or on NQ here as we push into this. So as we push down into this, just like this can still be your first risk off on this short until we flip below, right? And that's still a pretty solid trade just off of the reoffer as we push down into like 010 here on both ES and on NQ. And then let's see if we can flip these. All right, so again, this is your first risk off on NQ. ES has a little bit more room down into 010, but just took off one into 010 on NQ. And if we can flip these pivots, then we continue down. If not, then it's just a range trade between where we expected absorption and where we expected buyers to try to attempt, right? Just our two pivots. We want to see a very clear flip of this if we're going to go lower. We saw what we wanted, which is rejection and then rotation, but now we have to watch to see if we can get below this. If we can, great. If not, it's understandable. It is what it is. Just a distribution. Let's see what they do. I want to see them try to sweep it if we're going to do it, if they're serious. We need Russell follow through. We got the lower high, but then there wasn't a ton of movement. Just balance between our buyer and our seller. Very responsive bid, pushing back into our high attempt here on RTY. Without RTY follow through, we do not have more short. Need to see sell side. Or again, it is a higher low. Rotating back up to our highs here off of another hold of our lows at our O10s on NQ. Just, again, based off of where we saw this bid step in at a higher low point, rotating back up to our sell. There's no entry back in, so there's nothing new on NQ. It's just a rotation until we can get back above, like, I don't know, 140, 160. I'm not convinced of this low on NQ until we get back into value and then rebid it. Until then, it's just we're building a lower auction outside of value here. We can see POC is attempting to shift, but again, like this is just a pretty clear inside candle of this breakdown, right? So just be careful. Like I said, we have a clear buyer here, but we have a larger range that we are still failing to get back into. So until this shifts,
According to CNBC, the EU will cut growth outlook and raise inflation forecast.
Here. But we need to shift below this for more down, or this buyer is going to continue to hold, and we're just going to chop here as we build out this distribution. If we can get back into value, great, we have upside. If not, then it's going to be a range trade until we get this breach below and hold, and you need to be risking off into this O10 participant. If we can get back into this value,
So CNBC citing interview with EU Economy Commissioner Jeopardizing.
Just let Russell guide you. No change here still. Just watching our edge. We are creating a new balance outside of our larger balance, right? Again, this is a inside candle. We are just rotating. We have very clear big structure above that we have broken down outside of, and we are now trying to test to see if we can build outside of this value or if we're going to trap and then rotate back through value. Someone very clearly taking in size into 425 to 430 on ES, which makes sense because, again, this is just our edge. We need to get below our, we have to get back above this, right, our pivot here, or get below our pivot here, or we will continue to just range trade. So can we continue to put in these higher lows and get back above for our rotations back up? Or does this hold and continue to see absorption into these highs and get us below our pivot for that continuation down, right? Until then, it's balance, just outside of value. I mean, our levels are incredibly clear. We bounced off our 410, 400, and we are now trading into this absorption that's here on ES into 25 to 30. And we are, the participants are incredibly clear. We'll watch to see what happens here, but like, I mean, you can have expectations. I don't know why your trading would be bad. Everything that we've talked about today has played. But now you're just watching to see what happens between the two. As long as you're like taking off and putting on where we're talking about, like it makes sense. If you're looking for more too quickly, then it's gonna suck. Like I said, it's just balance outside of value right now until we figure out if we're going to get this breakdown and hold, or if we can shift. That's all that there is. It's going to just chop outside of value while we determine if this is going to be able to hold or get back into value and then rotate up. If it fails, great. Then we have continuation down and then we have pretty clear trend on the day. If not, you know, it is what it is. We'll rotate back in, trap all of this liquidity below value, and then rotate up. Your expectations should be exactly that. Either we hold value as resistance or we get back into value and then it's balance. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But $30 seconds till new 15s. Again, like this is just a pause until RTY stops putting in higher lows or gets back above value, right? Like if this does this, great. Like nothing has changed here. If we can get over and start to bid up, awesome. But like you just have choppy market balance, right, between these two areas until Russell figures out what it wants to do here as we push back into view up, as NQ continues to maintain our edges. New 15s have opened. We have opened above POC here. but VWAP and previous day value is above us, right? That we'll hit our heads on. So as we rotate here, are we still putting in higher lows? Has there been a shift? If not, then we should be expecting that we'll need to trap some sort of liquidity above this high if we're continuing to show no desire below us as of yet. So either we trap into these highs, into 130 to 170, right? We'll look for some sort of participant to get off sides there. Same thing on ES as we push into this, and then we'll look to see if we then rotate back through, or if we flip it and then rotate back up through our known area of support. But the lack of desire at our lows means that, again, we'll try for the highs, and then we look to see if we trap into this as our pivot, and then rotate back through for push down after we take out highs. Again, like seller is still very much so in control. It is balance outside of value. Yeah, like nothing has changed. Like I don't understand where people's mentalities are right now. Like nothing has changed until proven otherwise. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's fine if this isn't your kind of action, but I want to really, I'm really trying to reiterate the idea here that we are just getting a pause after a breakdown outside of our structure.
So seeing here from a senior US official, Iran's new offer is insufficient and risks war resumption.
That is the most important thing that you can see.
We did see a little spike in WTI crude, but a weakness in the S&P 500, a bit of strength in the dollar. Yeah, so it's saying again, senior US official saying Iran's new offer is insufficient and risks war resumption.
So quiet. We identified exactly where we thought the buyer would be after the breakdown.
So again, seeing here from Axios, Iran has given an updated proposal for a deal.
Right. Just because we're pausing after a breakdown, that doesn't mean that the day sucks. It just means that we are now attempting to shift outside of value to create something new. Right? Like there's...
Just a bit more further info into this piece from Axios. A senior US official told Axios that Iran's updated proposal for ending the conflict is not a meaningful improvement and remains insufficient for a deal. Washington said Trump still prefers a negotiated settlement, but is weighing military options as Tehran continues to resist key demands on its nuclear program. Officials warned that if no progress is made, talks could shift towards escalation, with internal discussions on next steps expected at the highest level.
And that's your full rotation here on ES back down to our lows, right? Just based off of what we have on chart as well. And like if we can flip this, great, we get more downside. If we can't, then there's no change right now, right? It's just chop. It's balance outside of value. But like, is this trade still really solid? Yeah, right? Like you have over 13 points here on ES in a single rotation, just looking for track traders outside of that value after we took out highs like we talked about. And now we're rotating back down into this bid into our lows, into our 410 to 405. If we flip that, then we get more downside. If not, then there's nothing here yet, right? For more. You take off your first risk, trade's free. It's, like I said, it is a rotation outside of value. We're creating a new balance with our value edge as our resistance into our highs. You just wait for Russell to lose momentum, and then the market follows suit. If you can follow these very simple rules, you have entries, right? Wait for Russell to lose momentum. Trade into a local pivot on NQ and ES. Look for that as rejection. Rotate back down to previous known buyers. Take off first risk. Right? Remember, go through your checklist of what we're looking for. Do we have someone trapped? Where are we looking for participants to be located? Where are our current buyers and sellers? Have we been able to identify them? Is it clear or is it not, right? What's Russell doing? Do we have a loss of momentum? Where would that loss of momentum potentially occur? Things start to make sense once we do that. If you're just blindly looking for continuation down after reprieve, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, then yeah, of course the market doesn't make sense and it looks like shit. Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. Again, we got to get below 405, 410 on ES for any more. You should be at least half out of your position if you're in from 26 to 36 on ES on that look above. If we can flip this, there'll be a really solid next leg down. We just need to break these lows. Until then, right, it's just the bottom of balance. We keep an eye on Russell to see what it does as we push back down into these lows as well. Off of rejecting our only pivot that we cared about. We'll watch to see what happens into this low. NQ is much choppier than ES. And Basil, I don't want you to think that like I'm attacking you there, but I want you to see that the structural breakdown that's happening right now could be incredibly big if we get this secondary move. Because if you think that there's nothing here, it's like we just need to see that like this is a breakdown and new balance that's forming outside of this structure that we've built on the day. And this could result in a really solid downtrend. And if you don't see that as a potential opportunity here on this rotation, you're potentially missing out on, you know, hundreds of points into this next leg. That's why it's like it's really important to be able to see this breakdown out of structure. right? Because even this is offering, you know, really solid points on ES and on NQ if you're trading our rotations and you're respecting the Russell rotation down, right? So like that's exactly what we want to see. This is your first risk off on NQ if you're trading off of that, right? From our failure to get back into value. This is rotation back into our buyer here at 010 to like 980. If we can flip this, then we get a really strong secondary leg down. If not, right, this is where we expect the bid to be. And we can see that reaction happening right now. Same thing at ES into our 405s and Russell into our lows. We need to see a very clear sweep to the downside here, or again, this is just the bottom of value. I've taken off my first risk on ES and NQ here at 410s and our NQ into our lows. Just Russell bouncing, double bottoming, right? Oops, didn't mean to do that. We just have to be respectful, that's all. Again, it's just like, where are the current buyers and sellers? Have they shifted? Has there been a shift that's occurred whatsoever? Have we seen anything that shows that we have a desire to either push up or push down yet? What are we watching for? What do we need to see for that to happen, for a breakdown to occur outside of this new balance? Well, what happened on our last balance breakdown? Was there anything of note on the breakdown of this range that we just broke out of? Like, if we actually look at this on the 15-minute, like, it's just like, oh, yeah. That makes sense. Let's turn off. Right, like, this is where we're currently trading. You see what I mean? Like, structurally, this really just is like kind of obvious. POC attempting to shift here on NQ down into these lows. This should determine if we're getting another leg or if we'll rotate back up through value. Watching now. POC attempting to shift here at like our
Fed
060
bids for
that Todd's
6-month
been
bills
talking about in
total
chat.
$4.6 billion. Fed bids for 3-month bills total $5.4 billion.
So if we go back to the screenshot that I posted above, where we identified this buyer on the way down, and where we've identified that absorption, I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger for a second. Put it on chart. What do we want to see ideally from this, between these two participants that we've been able to identify? Well, I'd like to see a failure to rotate back up, right? And I want to see these participants here who are trying to buy on this edge get absolutely stuffed in our mid and then sweeps below. Yeah? I want these guys to get just absolutely ruined here into our low to mid. And then I want to see sellers step in to rotate us down. Again, we've identified that this is where absorption is occurring. We can see it, right? Into these highs. And we traded into these lows where these buyers were, right? In this 410 to 400. This is where we reacted. But I want to see now if these guys here at this like 410, 415 are going to get absolutely ruined. And then if we can see sell side step in to the downside, right? Where this becomes like an absorption at a lower point. So we'll see if they can do it. But that is what we're watching for, because we have a very clear participant here and here, right? And it's either something new shifts, right? And then we rotate down, or we'll do more of the same, which is just rotate between our buyer and our seller. Right? Like it just is what it is. Yeah, we won't follow through. So we want to watch this participant who's trying to build here into our mid. And we're going to see them on our delta bubble. We're watching to see if sell side can show any interest as we push down into this to try to change this market into a downtrend here after we trapped this liquidity into our high. That's it. Right, and that would look like something like this, where we're seeing this liquidity here trapped. We're seeing a lower high being put in, right? And we're now trying to get below this. If we can do that, then we have trapped liquidity here, and now we have an offer trying to step down into our lows where we have a known buyer. If we can flip and we can get a really solid reoffer, we'll probably get some sort of action that looks like this. That'd be my guess. If not, then this will fail again. We'll look for this to flip back above, and then we'll look for full rotations back up. Right? Our entire job is just to identify where participants are located, and if there's anyone offsides, where that liquidity is and what our risk to reward would be, right? Like where does it invalidate? And what would we be seeking, right? If we can plan it out, it's everything's solid, right? You just have to create a plan, create a narrative. Where are the variables located? I mean, the ideal entry is here, or now a secondary potentially here on the look below. We'll see. But like as soon as you identify someone who's offsides, you can play around them, Ben. Right? Like your ideal entries have been given already, but like you still can play off of these participants. We've done the full rotation down. Now let's watch to see if we can get this push below and hold. If we can do that, right? There are multiple areas here that we can look for. I am risking off one here as we push down into these lows, and then let's look for the reoffer. I have one left here from 421 on ES. I would expect that we find a reoffer and retest of this like we have drawn out. Again, like this is what we'll be watching for. Can we now hold this edge where that buyer was? If we fail to get back above, then this will become your risk, this 405, 410.
At 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the US 6-month and 3-month bill auctions. 6-month prior high yield 3.615%, prior bid to cover 2.91, 3-month
retest,
prior high yield,
right, on our value edge, and then we
3.61%.
rotate down off of
Bid
it.
to cover,
Or we'll flip back in
2.86.
and then rotate up off of a failure to do anything new. Either this becomes trapped liquidity, and then we look for the bid and the rotation back up, right, on the flip of this, or this is where we hold and then we offer down. Okay, I need to go to full-size charts, but let's see what they do. Into our edge low here.
The US Treasury will extend lapse sanctions waiver on Russian seaborne oil for another 30 days, according to a source familiar with the plan. A reminder in 5-minute time. We have the US 6-month and 3-month bid auction.
We don't
Prior
see
high yield
a,
3.615%. Prior bid to cover 2.91. 3-month prior high yield 3.61%. Prior bid to cover 2.86.
a clear failure here soon. A take out of the lows on NQ. We might have to rotate back up to 60 to 100 first. Just keep that in mind. If there's no desire to push lower yet, right? We might have to retest POC. We're just watching to see if this is going to get the move that we want, right? Clear flip of our value here, and then rotation. We need to see this take out of our lows, or again, we will expect a rotation back up into this first before we can head down. There's no takeout on ES with Russell holding. So just watch your edge here at our like 20s. Potential rotation back up to 60 to 100. If we can't see a sweep here at our 20. ES gave 5 points from 405 to 400s, but no look below yet with Russell. Lack of follow through. Just pushing into our 405, 410 now. See if we can hold our value edge. But again, NQ, just lack of desire in lows, means that we probably have to retest the POC shift here. And then that'll be our catalyst to let us know where we want to go. That would be my assumption. Watching as we push into now on NQ. We'll be looking for offer to be somewhere into that 60 to 80 area, ideally, on NQ. We might need to take out that high, those high wicks into 90, though. Again, just watching to see if sell side sits there into that 60, though. We are watching to see if off of this failure here, this bids into this, and then we then take it out and then go. Something like that. Off of the lack of desire. Just watch for Russell to lose momentum again. Is it going to be a full rotation, or can we hold that 88.4? Yes, ideally we hold 405, 410 absorption and then rotate down. If not, then we have potential to rotate back up off of the recovery of that edge like we talked about. So the ideal entry would be on the re-offer then. Yes, I wouldn't want to anticipate too early and get offsides myself. Well, I mean, it's you just set risk, man. Like there is no perfect entry.
Short expected the US 6-month and 3-month bid
auctions.
auctions.
You're willing to put risk on, and you let it play, or you let it not play, right? Like you refuse to participate at our upper edges, and now you're trying to play the breakdown. So now you have clear risk, which is 5 points, 405 to 410. You either let that play or you don't. Like, I can't give you some sort of crazy, perfect, to-the-tick entry. Like, you either think that the edge holds on breakdown, or you don't, right? Like, it just is what it is. There's no... Yeah, well, not really, because you were going to be offsides there regardless, right? Like, I can't predict, but as long as we hold, we hold. You can take off risk now as we push down. You get what I'm saying, though? Like, I can't, like, either we do the thing or we don't do the thing. It either invalidates or it's successful. Like, I don't, Either we shift value or we don't, right? Or the failure shift fails and then we rotate back through the range. But like, is if you have your stop at that 410, then it doesn't fucking matter, you know? We are looking for absorption into 405, 410. If we flip back in, then we know what to expect. Then we'll look for the rotation all the way back up. Like it's an if-then situation, not a I don't want to be offside ever, and I'm too scared to take an entry because I might lose money. Either we shift value or we don't. If we don't, where are we going to head? Is there going to be a trade there? If so, then I will put on the risk with the understanding of where we are, and I will trade around it. If I find this risk unacceptable, then I will wait for a better setup that meets my criteria. Right? Like, I don't...
Three-month high yield, free spot 6%, free spot 6%, bid to cover, free spot 17, free spot 17. The US selling 89 billion and awarding 12.47% of bids at high. 6-month high yield, free spot 615%, free spot 615%, bid to cover, free spot 07, free spot 07. The US selling 77 billion and awarding 37.69% of bids at high. I mean, what can you tell me about this? What just happened? What are we doing compared to what we've talked about? Have we done the thing? Did we reject where we thought we would, where we identified buyers absorbing into highs? Are we attempting to now flip our lows? Did we see a lower trap try to happen at that 15? Was it successful? Did we get a rotation down off of it? Do we now see buyers trying to, sellers trying to now defend this 405, 410 from the other side? Right? Like, do we see the narrative or no? Can you see that based off of what I just posted? And you can say no. I mean, that's fine. We can go over it again. But, like,
Okay. I mean, you're saying what you're seeing. What are your expectations based off of that? What are you gonna do now? What do you need to see for you to have a trigger? What needs to happen, right? It's more than just seeing. It's now what are you expecting based off of what we know? What are Russell and NQ doing? Does it make sense to be looking for anything if those two are going up? Yes, they've rotated back up, right? To where? So where do we have potential to lose momentum on NQ and RTY that would allow for some weakness to be put back into the market? Yeah, right? So if we're not seeing that weakness on ES, NQ, or RTY, and we're rotating up on those names, and we're expecting absorption, well, then we should wait for Russell and NQ to find that weakness as well into our pivots. And then maybe we start to see that absorption on ES there, and then we look for that look into that 10, and then the look back below 405 for that entry with the weakness on those names, right? All of a sudden that gives us an opportunity. Right? When we have participation across the board, that gives us a really solid look, and that's what we want to see. We rejected 60, pushing back down into our edge now. If you played off of 60, like our pathing shows, we have to see a look back below 20, or this will be where the bid is. We need to get back below this value here, or expect the buyer to be sitting here. There's nothing else other than just the POC shift and retest. It's going to be very hard to get anything like big movement-wise until RTY starts to show weakness. It's just a balance trade right now. But what we want to see on ES, again, is like a very clear trap into these highs above, and then a clear like re-offer where we then play off of this as like a trapped liquidity on a rotation down. Because if not, then like we just recovered our value edge and we rotate back up. And it just is what it is. Right? We got to get below this. Same thing on Russell, right? We're still holding where we need. This can still do just a rotation back up. Still holding our edge here as well. You're playing off of 60 to 80 still. Just again, 20 is your first risk off. Got to get below this for more. There's really not much here until we can flip this. Just value retest off of our POC shift. Same thing on ES. Got to rotate below this 405 like we talked about from the lack of desire above 410s, trapping liquidity, looking for that reoffer for the rotation down with full price movement. So far, solid though, but need to see more, or expect this to be where buyers attempt. New 15s have opened. Yeah, I mean, again, like if you're unable to trade the micro interactions here with like very clear offers at 60s and then rotations down and not willing to take off into 20, it's your first risk until we flip. Just wait for Russell to break out of the range. Like it's really that simple. Like if you're unwilling to take little micro scalps into our edges, right, into our rotations that are expected, just wait for Russell to have momentum and then you'll have a really solid trade, which just hasn't happened yet, right? We're just trying to create value outside of our previous auction. Is there a downtrend still in play off of our breakdown? Yeah, nothing has shifted, right? Literally nothing has shifted. We broke out of our box that we talked about. We rejected our box like we talked about. We've never been able to get over our pivot. We are trying to push down. We are seeing lower highs being put in off of the breakdown of our box. We have a channel down that we're trading in. Like nothing about the narrative that I've talked about today has changed. We've gotten exactly what we thought would happen, which is when we failed below our previous day value, we started to get movement to the downside, right? Now we're just starting to move down, but slowly, because we have this node that was here. If we can get this move below, then we'll get continuation. If this fails, then we'll rotate back up. And then we'll try this edge again. And then it's just balance, right? But like the breakdown of our range happened and was successful. And at no point have we been able to show a desire to push back over the previous day value for this rotation back up to previous day POC. We're now watching this area here that we have highlighted. This is POC to value of our previous candle. And it's the area that we have circled where we expected them to try to hold below, right? We can see that now in play, right? They're going to try to hold this liquidity offsides on a retest. Will it work? I don't know, because we don't have Russell follow through. So it's very tough to have higher expectations than just trading back down to where this buyer is located. And that was kind of my point, is that there's just not a lot here until we can flip that. So you have to limit your expectations if we don't have a market fully participating together, right? We're still holding our buyer on NQ into these lows. Is there a seller that's located here? Yes. So can you look for a trade between these two participants with the idea that the overall trend is to the downside and try to hold a runner? Yeah, most certainly, right? You can look for a continuation down because we're still, even though it's choppy and sideways, the action is still to the downside. So you want to be looking to hold runners based off of that idea. But like, until we get full market participation, it's going to be a little choppy. It just is what it is. So you can either take profit with the context knowing that that's what we're doing, right? Or you can look to try to hold based off of the overall movement that we are in on the higher time frame, like we've just, pathed out for you. But until Russell gets this breakdown, it's going to be a little rough. But like, is there anything that's telling you that this isn't in play? No, right? Like, we're holding POC to value of our previous candle. This liquidity is trapped where we thought it would be. And we traded back down to value of the previous candle, right? We are in a balance between this value and this value. Right? Like, this is what we have on a chart. I mean, sure, like micro scalps, it's a 40-point range on NQ. That's a micro scalp. I mean, that's an insane trade for 5 seconds of work just by drawing 2 levels. Like, on the overall structure of the day, yeah, it is very micro because our range is so big, right? It's vast. But for 40 points is, I mean, 5 points on ES is still a really solid trade. But yeah, no, I mean, like 5 points makes you money, man. And will lead to more. Yes, that is the most important part. And again, like, it's that's always the important part, is like, where does it make sense to be looking for trades, right? You have to have an understanding of what's happening and why we're looking to trade there. Where are the participants? Where do we expect them to be offsides? Where do we expect interactions to occur? Does it make sense to look for this to occur here, just like we talked about in our narration on ES? Yes, well, 100%, right? Because we've just trapped that liquidity where we expected, where we talked about. How could we identify it that early? Well, it's the look above, right? And then it's the fail. And now you've got that reoffer here. And then you're playing off of the offside liquidity. Like, does that not make sense, where you identify offside liquidity and then you use it as your risk, right? That's the entire thing that we just talked about. That's where you look for reoffers, right? Like, that's the entire premise. Just because it's not giving you as many points immediately doesn't mean that it's a bad trade. And again, like, that's based off of just looking at the POC to value off the 15 of the previous candle, using that as your risk, watching for the reoffer, and then playing it down to that value low of the previous candle. That becomes your reward. That's PT1. If we get the breakdown below, then you can let that thing run. If not, then you have a clear, concise, one-to-one trade that makes sense in the current auction. Do we have broader context for that same area? Yeah, right? We just drew it out on our delta profile. That's our edge, right? That's where we saw absorption occur on the previous rotation. right? When this is the exact same thing. Should we expect more if Russell is still rotating? That's my question to you, is can you make that connection? That PT1 makes the most sense, and that holding a runner is a 50-50 of potentially bouncing back fully on you because we don't have a Russell breakdown. Can you make that connection is the question I have. Has anything shown that we have a desire to push lower yet? Have we trapped liquidity into highs? Yeah, sure, right. That's resulted in that rotation from our 408s back to 400s. That's an 8-point trade. But is there interest yet across the full market to let you know that the breakdown wants to happen? And to me, the answer is no, right? Like Russell's still sideways. So we should expect rotational trades.
So according to a spokesperson, Starmer
Right,
rival
until
Burnham
we see
to reject any change to UK fiscal rules.
And that's my point. It's like you have to limit your expectations because the market is not in agreement, right? It's balance, yes. Yes, and that's the connection I want you guys to have. Is like, if you are constantly looking for 100-point trades and not looking at what the market is actually giving you at a current time, right? No wonder you're losing, right? But if you're willing to take the 8-point scalp on ES, right, and the 50 or 60-point scalp on NQ between our rotational balance low and our most recent seller while we wait for Russell to get its shit together, then like you've got free money on your hands because you know where the auction is currently located and you know what the current market state is. Yeah?
Gilts extend gains after Burnham's statement on UK fiscal rules.
Again, it's understanding and limiting expectations while having an understanding of what the overall market is doing, right? Like that's the most important thing. And then it's just about trading between our known buyer and known seller. And again, like I personally think it's worth leaving runners in this kind of market state because we know that the market is weak. So I'm more than willing to let things go back up to break even on runners because I know that when it breaks down, it's going to be very fulfilling. And I know that I've taken off 2/3 of my size, so the trade is profitable regardless into our PT1, right? I take the 1-to-1 and I make the trade free, and then I allow the larger market state to play out. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It doesn't matter. But I do that because I have an understanding of what's going on and what my expectations are, and they're in line with what I'm looking for, right? Without that, you're going to be very emotional. Be like, oh, I gotta add, I gotta take off, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It's like, no, man, like just... Do you have an understanding, a firm grasp of what's happening in the market? Is your scenario playing out? Are your expectations in line, right? Have they been met? Have you done everything you can to limit your risk while also being able to compound your gains while we wait? And in my opinion, yeah, objectively we have, right? And like, what happens if that 60 to 100 on NQ flips? That's our daily POC then shifting down into this lower distribution, right? If we no longer can hold this as resistance, then we'll have to shift back up and then revert back up to that POC from above, right? So it's super important that we continue to try to maintain this as our offer here with this POC shift on the daily into this lower distribution to let us know that we want to continue downwards. Because if not, then we're going to rotate back up to our higher distribution and trade back up to that POC that was established above. That's usually how I play that. right? When POC migrates, we look for that the previous migration, right? The previous point that it was trading at as our
UK
target.
pound rises to a day's high
If we
versus the
are
dollar
unable to
after
sustain
Burnham's
quality.
statement.
But right now it's just stellar resistance. But it is something that we have to watch for. 1 minute until new 15s. Another full rotation back down into our 400s from another 08 to 015. This is where the bid is. Be very careful. New 15's opening now. Need to flip this. Or again, limit your expectations. Into our lows here on NQ. We want to see a very clear flip of this from our 940 and then maybe like a reoffer into this 970, 980 on a look below if it's going to do it. Like we have pathed. Right. Watch RTY as we come back down. ES testing below 400s. We'd love to see this reoffer on the flip of our 400. We need to see Russell break down for this to have any sort of initiative. But we are holding where we thought we would. Again, just another rotation down based off of our structure. Posting this again so that you can see it. And then let's see what happens here into our lows. Is there going to be anything new, or do we do another rotation off of another lack of desire with Russell? We shall see. Oh my god, these headphones, man. Okay. Wait, is this real? There's no way, right? Florida is putting wireless EV chargers inside the highway itself. Drive over it, get charged. Surely not. What car even supports that? None of them. Yeah, they're definitely trying. Decent amount of size being taken into like 400, 403 so far on ES. Very two-sided here though. I think we need to flip 70s on NQ for anything real. Oh my god. Can you imagine? I think I would. I don't know, man. This is like my nightmare. Why did that link work? Oh, there we go. I tell you guys the story of when the what is it called, the Top Thrill Dragster came out at Cedar Point. They had a test dummy in it, and I watched the test dummy fall out at the top and smash to the ground when I was a kid. I just watched it. I watched the dragster get stuck upside down, and then the test dummy fall out, and then splat to the ground. That's my story of why I hate roller coasters. But that is a close second, nightmare-wise, having to walk down. Hell no. Watching ES here again into our 407, 415 area. Russell held our lows. Another failure. Just is what it is. NQ probably has room if this 20 goes supportive back up to 60 to 80. We're watching now to see what they do here. Oh yeah, no, being stuck upside down would be miserable. No, thank you. I don't know. $50 seconds until new 15s. Just testing into our pivots here. If Russell wants to, right, it'll do another oscillation. We need to see this breakdown. We want to see very clear absorption into this like 408, 415 area on ES. Same pivot as before, or again, we will just do the full rotation back up. ES, sorry, for NQ, just watching to see how this bid interacts here at 20. New 15s have opened. Opening above POC to value, previous candle. Again, just watching to see if we can get this bid back up to our 60 to 80 on NQ with Russell holding our edge. ES pushing back into our offer here again. Let's see what they do. Yeah. Offer sits at 19s on EOS. That's what they're advertising at least. 15s and 19s. Let's see what they do as we push up. RTY moving through our range. Yeah, they're offering 19 on ES with that as well. Even POC is attempting to shift down here from 60 down to this 30 on NQ. As we push into 60s, if you're playing off of this 20, it should be your first risk off into our known seller here. If we can flip it, great, we'll do the full rotation up. If not, right, we'll just watch Russell on its full oscillation here, just following our pathing. Again, they're advertising 19 on ES, that was pretty clear. We're watching to see now as we push into these highs on NQ what they're going to do with it. Again, this should be your first risk off as we tag into our previous sell, and then look to see if you can leave a runner. Off of the flip. RTY pushing into highs here at 92s to 800. Just full oscillation off of another failure at our low. Coming into our 19 now on ES, which is also your 15-minute VWAP. I've tagged out 2 on NQ into 60. I have one left playing off of that 20 to 30. We are now back into our potential range flip here on ES if we can hold this pivot. So just have to redraw this. Same thing as before, but we watch the retest now to see if the bid is willing to hold for this rotation up, or if this is going to trap liquidity above, and then give us something to play off of on the look back below. So just keep an eye on it. Again, it's the same sellers before on NQ. It's why we've risked off into 60. I have one contract left, 20 stop. Just off of our flip, 20 to 60. 40-point trade is beautiful. Stopped on my 20 there. And again, this is just Russell into highs, full oscillation, coming back down to our lows. We'll watch to see if a bid happens here for a reoffer as we come into our halfway back on Russell into the bottom of our range. And we then look to see if we've trapped these this liquidity into our highs for some sort of like lower offer, right? But we should expect some sort of reflexive bounce here at our like 83, 84 on Russell. And then we watch to see if we put in a lower high that then leads us down, or if we do another oscillation. But we'll just keep an eye on this liquidity here now. And we watch that. Same thing on NQ. See what they do. I think we'll have a better opportunity. I mean, there's definitely an easy scalp there if you were willing to flip, but this would be at your first risk off on NQ. I think you'll still have a better opportunity to get back in. I still haven't taken it.
Seeing from a CNBC reporter on X, citing a US official who's telling this reporter that the Iranian state media report that the US has agreed to lift oil sanctions while talks are ongoing is false.
Let's see what they do. Because Russell has this bounce point here at 83. I'd like to see like at least a retest of like 20s, 20 to 40 here on NQ, but maybe we don't get it. I don't know. We'll see. It's fine missing out on this move. Russell back into our lows. I follow my plan. Either Russell breaks structure or we bounce here again. That's fine missing another leg of this. Regardless, we'll get a better offer. If Russell can flip, I'll play with that. Full rotation here on NQ and ES back into our lows. Russell retesting lows as well.
The Nasdaq 100 index extends drop to 1%.
Now let's watch this. This is incredibly important here on RTY. This will give us our entry. Come on, Russell, hold it.
So the earlier headline we got out from the CNBC reporter just getting wider attention on the news wires now, as again the US denies reports that it agreed to lift Iran oil sanctions. Since it's hit the main wires, just seeing a bit of strength in oil prices, bit of weakness, or at least a leg down in the US indexes.
Beautiful hold so far. Let's see if we can get a bit more. I want more. This is a huge breakdown on RTY off of the flip. Yeah, watch your ETH low on ES. Into like 36.38.
Hello, Monday shorters.
Yo.
What is up?
I actually have to leave early today because I have a doctor's appointment. I'm being forced
Nice.
to leave.
It's good. That's good.
I guess. I'm lucky.
Not good that you have a doctor's, but yeah, well, we'll actually have Monday movement now,
Okay.
you know, so. It's, listen, I will not tell a lie, you know?
Trying to shift blame on me for your lack of afternoon movement.
Well, it makes it easy, at least, conceptually. Hello, Benjamin.
Do we see a more natural breakdown now that Russell is moving with the market? Do we see the flip? How that can just be where you look for offers once we actually see Russell moving with market. Like, just like if you are unwilling to trade balance, then you just wait for full market participation outside of value, and then we just play that. Right? Like, that's literally that simple. Did anything change on ES with what we've been talking about? On the overall picture? And posting the same thing over and over again today. Did anything change in this image? Yeah, no, they're just like continuing to take in right at the exact same place while we wait for Russell to get the breakdown. And then we get a bigger move because now we have all these trap traders at that lower price point, right? Which creates a much more drastic move outside. And now we'll watch our reoffers here as Russell retests our value edge as well as ES. Are we able to sustain below, or do we rotate back through? We shall see. Right, this is basically just us getting squeezed to the downside based off of news and all those trap traders there. And now we are retesting to see if sell side is actually willing to defend this edge into like 400, 405 on ES, as well as Russell into our value edge flip. Can we sustain now into these lows, or is there going to be another rotation, right? Galactical Galaxy Dog. Did I see them? Oh, no, I didn't. That's cool, though. Like at one of their live shows? That's cool. Was she good? Live? So where are we watching? Do we see these deltas here above that we're looking to see if we can sell into to hold this lower high? Do we see that 400 to 405 area, right? Like the 397, 405, whatever you want to call it, just like that big ass node. Right, where we swept through. We'd love to see us hold there and not have to rotate back up. So we'll watch to see if they can take in size as we push into that. Love to see like maybe some buyers get absorbed there as we rotate up. That'd be ideal. And then them try to sweep us down. Maybe something like this would be nice if we were gonna do something new. If not, right, we'll just have to rotate back up to retrace the news candle, right? Something like this would be kind of nice. Let's see what they do. We need Russell to not get back in for this idea to potentially play, right? Like that should be obvious. Again, I'm watching for something like this. If it's going to happen. So we push into that. We see like almost 900 contracts stacking at 404 on Dom. Russell testing into our edge. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it might be a little early. We need to see this absorption, but it's fine to look for like an average down as long as you don't let it like lose you money on the trade. There might be a better entry. We'll see. We need Russell to follow through. See this absorption and then start to see that seller step us down. Same thing on NQ here as we push into our 70s. Yeah, nice. Yeah, you're doing it well. This is a sentence that's kind of crazy. The Trump administration has authorized the use of cyanide bombs to kill off animals on public lands.
Wait, what does that even mean?
What
What is?
I don't know. It's just a
All
crazy
right,
sentence.
what is?
Reading that out loud.
Yeah. Okay. So, once again, what is it? Cyanide bomb. The word just I finished the new Invincible season this weekend, and this is just it playing out in real life, right?
Yeah.
We got Alan at the helm with his cyanide bombs. Like, no spoiler.
I mean, this trade's already good. Let's see if we get the secondary move here, boys. But Russell rejected our range, rotated down. You got your first signs of weakness where we thought we would. Let's see if we get some continuation. But this is where I'd expect, you'd want to be taking off your first wrist if you're playing like a 1-to-1 scenario here. Let's see if we can push down. Following our idea. As we found weakness into our node here. Let's see if we could find like the secondary seller as we push down into this 97-ish area on NQ, or on ES, sorry, with Russell weakness. Does that make sense with what we talked about? Right? Just like, again, understanding our narrative. We have to watch for potential higher lows now. Yeah. Just like before. Need to see this continued weakness. Yeah, right, like this. You actually are like about to kill kids in the woods, just playing.
I don't understand why they would do that. Like, if you have a problem area, especially with coyotes, like, you just, like,
Dell now has
hire
5,000
15
clients
guys
for AI servers in the first quarter.
and give them a month.
That is using NVIDIA chips. So again, that's Dell now having 5,000 clients for AI servers with NVIDIA chips.
Have they thought about maybe
That's an additional 1,000 clients.
AC-130 into the area,
Yeah, true.
with like thermal and just shooting them? Yeah,
Well, they-
just like,
they
just
do
like
that
gunship
in-
for the coyotes.
I mean, they do that in Texas for the wild hogs.
Yeah, I
And
know,
they
what a
still-
Gatling gun helicopter.
Yeah.
They've
But, like,
got a
I feel
thermal
like-
50 cal.
Yeah. But that can't be more expensive than this, like, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like it.
Plus, at least there's like a human behind it. It's not just like a cyanide bomb in the woods.
That's what I mean. Like, do you want, like, cyanide minefields in our, like... Oh, you're hiking that region today? Watch out for the cyanide mines. Okay. I don't know. We've been pretty good at, like, decimating populations of animals before in our history. I don't see why we gotta do it this way now.
Yeah, surely it'll be selective and only the coyotes die and nothing else.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, on horseback. That's what I'm saying, Surf. But even more hardcore back then were like the wolf culling. Wolves are much harder than coyotes. So I don't get it. All right. Well, now my day is ruined. That's fun.
Sorry.
No.
You're gonna be on your property in Colorado, and you're gonna have to watch out for cyanide.
Well,
minefields.
dude, that's we're up on BLM land, like
Yikes.
which is like was a big positive for me, but now I gotta watch out for the cyanide mines. Holy!
Oh Lord.
Maybe I'm not just cutting through to get to the lake. Maybe I have to take the road.
No longer a shortcut.
Yeah.
Who dis? Nope. Wait, this is actually when you look at it like this, like Chili's is an insane deal.
I was telling Abby the last couple weeks, I was like, we need to go to Chili's.
That's crazy. $10.99 beverage, appetizer, and an entree.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, I was like, even this weekend, we like ran to my parents. We stopped at like Burger King for lunch. It was like $35
Yeah, that's
for like
that's
2 normal meals. You know what I mean? Like,
that's too much. It's gotten out of hand. I went to a sit-down like restaurant today and got a burger for $15, and it's like
Yeah, exactly.
the price is Burger King. Like what?
yeah.
Yeah, 1 appetizer plus 2 full-size entrees for $25.
Really, for like $5, you can get one of those 10-gallon margaritas, like in a hat too.
Oh yeah, there you go.
In and
That's
out,
a night.
easy peasy. Yeah. And a morning.
True. Are you going to get the new Subnautica?
I don't know.
I was thinking about it. It's multiplayer. Did you see that?
No,
It's the first one.
I did
yeah.
not. I wonder how the servers work.
Yeah, I don't
if
know.
they're
But regardless, like it might be a fun game to play with Abby, even if it's not
Yeah.
with.
to look at it. That's like the problem we have with even Windrose, where like the servers are hosted by whoever like is online. I wish they had a server capacity. I get why they don't, but
Failure to put in a lower high, retesting Russell structural, our structural break here at our value low. NQ into our pivot. ES retesting our edge as well off of that failure there. Watch to see what happens. But very good hold of our value of our previous candle so far as we retest. Offer on ES sitting at 704, 705. NQ seller sitting at this 80. See what they do. Looks like we took them in. Well, how many contracts was that? Like 500?
Yes.
NQ?
Oh. I was gonna say there's not a ton of size on. Yes, there. Zoom.
600?
503.
Yeah. 585 for me.
What is Hellforge? Because I didn't play that other playtest that you sent me. Taped loop-based roguelike.
So we have confirmation from a White House official saying that Trump is going to hold the swearing-in ceremony for Fed's Wash on Friday.
Megabot.
I don't remember what it was because it was an ARPG.
I'm so out of touch with games. It's crazy.
404, 405 takes here. You're getting big stacking on ES at this 405. Big stacking. 1,000 contracts on 08.
Yep.
This Hellforge looks like, what was the mining game? The like rogue, like Deep Rock Galactic. That's what
1,000
this looks like.
contracts at 08. This is where we were watching to see if they're going to take in. Big size. Holy. Let's see what they do here. Can we flip it? They're trying. Do we trap? Or do we flip? Watching Russell as we push into POC for potential loss of momentum. Yes, into our PVZ value here, where we trap liquidity above. Watching to see if they'll hold this, or if we'll flip it for the full rotation back up to our 28s. Just our 405, 410 area, right? Watching to see if this bid will flip, or if we'll absorb here. Same thing with our 50-60 area on NQ with our POC here on the daily. I think you want to see like a 20 bid and then the rotation to 60 if we're going to be back in this range. very similar to what we saw here. If it's going to happen. Let me watch if Russell can get this next leg as well for the full oscillation now that we've recovered this low. Darkhaven and Crystal Fall. What?
Just the Indie D2 clone stuff, essentially.
Oh, I remember you linking that.
Yeah.
That was where I was like, because you were like, it was a PO2 clone.
Yeah,
I
the
was
PoE
like, well,
clone.
Actually.
Yeah. Mostly negative. Holy.
Unlucky. Dude, it's so hard to please those gamers because they're gonna just completely compare it to PO2, PoE and Diablo.
Yeah. Well, that's why like No Rest for the Wicked is actually like different, like subgenre, and why it's good. Like, why would you play these games when the same thing exists but way better? Back through the majority of liquidity that was taken here on ES.
Yeah.
Back to our initial take.
See Russell try to hold here like 780 on retest. If it doesn't, then we just trap. I think across full market. I want to see like a clear bid here on our value edge retest after hitting POC.
To the New York Post, Trump says Iran knows what's going to be happening soon.
Right, we want to see this bid.
So again, Trump to the New York Post says Iran knows what's going to be happening soon.
If not, then we just trapped. Watching for the potential reoffer here.
To the New York
Russell's
Post,
gonna
they're
hold.
citing an interview with Trump.
I need confirmation from Russell, or again, it'll just be like a higher low, and then a bid. There's a buyer at 80s on NQ that's trying.
Trump to the New York Post says, I am not open to concessions for Iran.
Give us a better reoffer, Russell, please. Show me the 80 resistance. Watching our edge here on retest. I can Russell putting this lower high here at 80 on the look back below value from a rejection of our POC. to lead us down. Watching that same thing on ES at like 407, 405 here for the lower offer if we're going to trap. It's really important that we see that sell sides try to defend this, right, from this bounce if we're going to continue down. Same thing at our 70s on NQ. We got to get below that. Let's see if Russell gets that follow through here. Because like if not, then we just maintained our higher low, and then the guys who...
So for those interested, we've posted the article by the New York Post on the feed for those interested. Again, it's citing a New York Post interview with Trump, which has not been seen before.
Again, if Russell doesn't reject this and put in the lower high, I think that sell side lost. Really important that we get this. Or again, like higher lows are still intact across the board. That's crazy. I thought Crystal Fall was like all Diablo 2 devs. Was that the one, or was that the Death one?
I think that's the Dark Haven.
Dark Haven, yeah.
And then like Chris Wilson from the OG PoE from GGG is working on a game as well, but that's like really, really early.
Mm. Russell failure. I mean, it just looks like oscillation to me, but we'll see.
Trump in this New York Post article says an Iran deal is happening soon.
What time is it? 1. How far away is this appointment? Let me see. Oh boy, 30 minutes away. Yikes.
Little bit of a drive.
Japan's Finance Minister Katayama says the volatility in oil prices is affecting the forex market and told the G7 that we need to take action to correct global imbalances.
Liquidity really dried up, but the same kind of spots where size was previously still being respected.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. feels like wait for RTY to decide kind of a move again. But it's probably going to happen without me because I got to get ready for this. Watching just this POC continue to reject on Russell. If we get below value, can actually sustain below, then I would assume that we get more downside. But if this just continues to just oscillate here, there's not much we can do other than say that this liquidity is potentially offsides and that we will potentially rotate back up to here if we continue to just bounce it. I don't know, right? Like there's nothing really else. Oh, later Bezel. Sorry, I was in a different chat. Just getting a check.
Good.
I'm looking to get back on Adderall. That is what I'm going to for an appointment. Surf. Yeah. Yeah. That is why. We'll see what happens. I weaned myself off when there was that huge shortage, and then I never got back on, but...
The lock-in.
I could, definitely use it. I don't know. We gotta either get below this value and start to like rotate this lower section, or again, like I just think it's gonna be kind of garbage. Nothing's really changed on NQ. Like they're still just willing to take into these highs, into this 40 to 60. But like there's very clearly a bid trying at 40 to 70. So it just feels like we're kind of stuck between these two participants here. While we wait for Russell. And it's like, okay, we're in this liquidity here on EOS into 10 to 20. But then we've got this buyer who's into these lows. So, like, great. Alright, yeah, I mean, let's see what happens. I think your Russell will determine directionality, but there's a pretty big bid at those lows. We took in a lot of size there. I don't think I'd be comfortable in any sort of like ES short unless we were into these highs and then like reoffered like this. Let me draw that a little bit better. Right, like some sort of like take out of this high for like a rotation from here, or a very clear take out of our lows and then like 400 going offer, because it just feels a little gross. See what happens up into that. NQ, I'm so unsure. Because like this could continue to just absorb into this and then trap and then we rotate down. Or this could continue to hold. Right? And then we go up. I don't know. NQ, I have no edge here, personally. But ES, I'm just basing off of this Russell movement here. Like we have this liquidity who's trapped above that we're holding. But I would need to see us reject that and then continue down. This is like by far the only thing that makes sense to me, is either playing off of that same 60 to 100 guy and then like the lower high, or a rotation below, or like we test up into these highs and we take out this liquidity and then flip back. I think that this will probably be the trade that you look for. It's this one. If we get it, that look in, offer, pushback, and then this can then go either up or we flip. I don't know. That's what I would look. Something like that. Yeah, I think it's something like that. That's what you're watching for. Yeah, the issue here is that we're back above the buying node, right? So like 400, 405.
Japan's Finance Minister
Like,
Katayama
any of
says,
this
Prime Minister
can be reactive.
Takaichi told me to consider how to finance a planned extra budget while mitigating risks.
Like until we like really show interest back below, there's not really that downside movement potential. Unless we get like a very clear Russell flip of our value structure here at 80s. Which I mean could happen. There's definitely a possibility, but it's just hard. Because like if you look at what this looks like on ES. Right, like this is us just above this buyer here. And then we just have this selling up into these highs, which is what I've marked as well. It's like take out this high, come into this liquidity. But like, will you feel confident unless we're below this and like offering it? To me, probably not. Because this is just like could bid and then rotate up into this. But I don't know. I think just basing off of Russell's movement is your best bet. I don't know. I'm out of here anyways. Mario's got it. I will talk
He will
to you
do
tomorrow.
things.
Peace.
Later.